Hey everyone! If you haven't been sleeping under a rock, you've probably heard or seen of this cute but scary looking little monster called Labubu. Maybe you've even seen those crazy long lines in front of Pop Mart stores all around the world, those insanely high reseller prices, or even videos of people getting physical over this little cute but scary looking fluffy keychain. Labubus seem to be hanging off everyone's backs right now, and almost everyone on YouTube is wondering how they've become so popular in the first place. So, do I really need to talk about Labubus too now? The answer is no, but before you click away, maybe I can offer a new perspective to this whole discussion. I'm not here to talk about consumerism, gachification of trinkets, or the lipstick effect, but rather as someone who's been into alternative fashion for almost all of her adult and teenage years now. I kind of have very conflicted emotions about this whole ordeal. I actually did not want to touch on this topic at all, but then I came across this post by IKEA where IKEA showed their new product, which is a cute and ugly looking trinket that's also marketed to adults. And that's when I knew that I wanted to give my 2 cents as well. So let me give you my perspective as someone from the alternative fashion scene. First of all, this video is less scripted and researched. As always, you can find all my sources down below in the document in the description, but I just wanted to have like a sit down and talk video with you. For those who don't know, Labubu is a fictional character created by a Hong Kong born artist. I'm gonna show you the name here in the bottom of the video. I don't know how to pronounce his name and I don't want to butcher it. His character is inspired by Nordic folklore and was created in 2015, so a decade ago. The artist made a deal with Pop Mart, a Chinese retailer that's now known for their blind boxes, and due to that deal, Labubus have been sold at Pop Mart since 2019, so that's now been 6 years. Labubus are part of the Monster series and come in different colors, editions, etc. And one of the most important features is that they come in blind boxes. So you basically don't know exactly which Labubu you're going to get. So the character has been around for over a decade and they've been sold in stores for over 6 years now. So why is everyone freaking out about Labubus now? And the answer is Lisa from Blackpink. In April of 2024, Lisa has been showing off her Labubu collection on her socials, mostly as accessories hanging off her bags, which sparked a high interest in Labubus amongst Lisa's fans. Labubus increasingly became so popular that other celebrities jumped on the trend as well, including Rihanna and Dua Lipa, who have been seen rocking their own Labubus hanging off their own designer bags. According to the BBC, this hype almost tripled the profits for Pop Mart of last year, which is crazy. Apart from Pop Mart's insane increase in profits, you now regularly see huge queues in front of Pop Marts all around the world, as well as scalpers buying a bunch of Labubus to upsell for really high prices. And I remember not that long ago, I saw a video of grown men physically fighting over Labubus in front of a Pop Mart in London, which then prompted Pop Mart UK to hold all sales of Labubus in stores. That's crazy as well. I know by now that they found a different solution. So they operate on a draw system. It's basically a luck-based draw. And if your name is drawn, you get the opportunity to buy a Labubu in store. So, but what surprised me about all of this wasn't why Labubu suddenly became popular, but why a cute character trinket became so popular amongst the Western mainstream, and specifically amongst normies. Sorry to use that word in that context, but I hope you know what I mean. I'm especially surprised because Labubu is considered something, I guess, cute, and cuteness is something that is considered considered less favorable once you reach a certain age here in the West. Whilst on the other hand, cute mascots, characters, trinkets have always been prevalent in East Asian pop culture and also have been targeted to adults in that way. And again, that's something that hasn't really been prevalent here in the West at all, where cute characters were always only really targeted to children. But if we ignore the Western mainstream here for a second, cute trinkets, characters, keychains, they've been very, very popular amongst people from alternative spaces, alternative fashion scenes all around the world. And I'm not only talking about J fashion or anime culture, but even Western subcultures such as emo or scene. These are all subcultures that really embrace that sort of cuteness, be it characters, be it your fashion sense, be it your lifestyle in some sort, regardless of age or where you're from. So let's look at some examples. For emo or scene, think of shirts with character prints, or kogyaru accessorizing their school bags, decorers accessorizing their entire fits with cute character trinkets, and recently I've seen a lot of K-pop or idol fans decorating photo cards of their favorite idols or buying cute mascots of their favorite groups and carrying them on their bags to show their support. And then obviously you've got Ita bags, which are highly associated with idol and anime culture. What I want to say is that cute trinkets are really nothing new at all for people in some alternative subcultures, regardless of their age or where they're based in the world. However, for mainstream culture, especially here in the West, cute characters and trinkets have always been something that has been more associated with children only. Additionally, embracing cuteness as an adult is seen as something less attainable, since cuteness is often associated with underlying tones of immaturity or weakness or even weirdness in that sense. I think the sentiment that every adult who embraces cuteness is weird in some sort of sense comes from the high association of cuteness with children, and people finding anything weird they don't quite think fits the norm or their worldview. So if in their worldview cuteness is something only for children, then an adult embracing cuteness, embracing childishness is something really weird. I would argue that other adults would probably see that person as someone stuck in the past, not being able to grow up, all these sorts of things that people would say about someone grown up, still associating with things that are seen as more childlike. I think especially for women, that's something super prevalent, as anything related to playfulness or fun is something that needs to be left behind as soon as a girl is supposed to grow up, which is often much earlier compared to boys. I need to flee from the sun right now, so let me move a little bit. Anyway, from my experience, I remember being ridiculed for wearing pigtails to school when I was 14. So I was legitimately still very young. And obviously nowadays I just wear what I want. I don't care. But like back in the day, I was 14. I was wearing pigtails and my classmates made fun of me for being so childish. Whilst I thought it was cute. And I think pigtails are cute. Full stop. If you don't like it, that's fine. But you know what I mean. It was that pressure to grow up very quickly, and anything that would be associated with kids or being a child was super disregarded. And I also remember I was on a school trip around the same age, and when we were on the coach, I took out my Nintendo DS because I wanted to play. Obviously, that did not go well either. I know that some of the girls in my class, they looked at me and then they said things like, "Oh, I didn't know we had children with us." And now I'm like happily playing on my DS or Switch whenever I want to, and I'm very happy about that. But this pressure of like you can't engage with playfulness in any sense was really there and prevalent in late childhood and teenage years. Looking back, this made me feel like girls seem to have a need to prove to each other that they are mature enough early enough. Whilst men or boys can engage in play without the same kind of pressure, they also suffer from prejudice or other pressures related to anything in relation to cuteness, as cuteness is being seen as feminine rather than immature, which is more of a secondary concern here. Being perceived as feminine for a guy is still something very, very challenging here in our society, which makes it very hard for any man or even boy to engage with cuteness in any sense at all, really. So just a quick summary of my thoughts here. I think in the West, cuteness seems to be something reserved for children only. And when adults are engaging with it, it's often being seen as immature or maybe stuck in childhood and therefore weirdness. And for adult men especially, cuteness is being seen as something more feminine, which again is something very hard for them to engage with due to toxic masculinity. So yes, due to these social beliefs, I found myself almost shocked when I realized how popular Labubus became, especially amongst normies and just the mainstream here in the West. Because again, the popularity here, the target audience in the West here as well is adults and not children. So them engaging with something cute like that is something that I've only really experienced before in alternative subcultures and spaces only. So, why is everyone okay with cuteness now? Honestly, I don't know, but I'm trying to find some answers by making this video here. So, let's do some brainstorming together. First of all, I think East Asian pop culture has become so popular in just the last couple of years. Think of K-dramas now readily available on Netflix, K-pop suddenly being so popular everywhere. Also, anime and manga from Japan has become, it was always popular, I guess, in my kind of spaces, but I feel like it's a bit more normalized and accepted here now as well, which I find very interesting. And then obviously you have a lot of Chinese gacha games and games in general, Chinese media entering the Western mainstream as well. So I feel like that's why the West has been getting more familiar with East Asian pop culture in the last years. So with K-pop being so popular here in the West right now as well, and with Lisa's success, I understand that her promoting those Labubus very organically really resonated with a lot of people all around the world because she just has fans all around the world. And I'm sure it helped that other celebrities also jumped on that trend, like Rihanna or Dua Lipa, as I mentioned before, as they showed Labubus to an even wider audience. Also, I think there is a really important link between Labubus and fashion. From the beginning, Labubus have not only been seen as like a cute plush toy, but as an accessory. People hang them off their bags, often matching the colors of their outfit. And especially for normies, Labubus can be that one point of interest, that pop of color that makes their entire outfit come together or stand out. In a sense, Labubus make it very easy to elevate an outfit for a very affordable price. I also realized that Lisa, as well as other celebrities, are accessorizing their own designer brand bags. Whilst a regular person can't afford those luxury brands, they can afford a Labubu. So decorating their own bags with a Labubu almost makes those outfits by those celebrities feel attainable. We can't afford luxury, but most people can probably afford a £15 Labubu from Pop Mart. But speaking of luxury, I've seen people dress their Labubus in self-made luxury clothes. So there is a huge DIY scene amongst the Labubu fan base. There are so many videos online that show tips and tricks on how to DIY your own Labubu, which made me think that we're probably all really craving some sort of community right now. So hopping onto this trend can definitely give you some sort of belonging or community feeling. And maybe people are happy to disregard their judgment or prejudice of of cuteness if it means belonging to something or following a popular trend. Guys, next time I know not to film when the sun is shining right into my room. I actually didn't know it was gonna happen. Sorry. Anyway, I recently visited a family member and I remember seeing a Miniso store in my hometown. And I was shocked because I never thought I would see a store that sells just cute trinkets and character goods and Sanrio stuff in my conservative, old, boring hometown. When we walked through the store, my family member said, "We need cuteness. I'm happy things are changing." And that really stuck with me, as I never expected to hear those words come out their mouth. We need cuteness right now. Are people done wearing denim jeans and looking at grey buildings? Is minimalism dead? In my research, I also stumbled across the word escapism a few times, and I usually don't like that word as I see it very often in relation to anything subculture, niche interest, fashion, or any type of trend. But I also understand right now we are living in challenging times. So watching someone online unboxing a Labubu and you're trying to guess which kind of Labubu they're going to get, or even creating your own content about Labubus, or going into store to picking your own Labubu might offer some distraction from our harsher reality in a very different way. Of course, you can always find escapism in books and TV shows, or even hanging out with friends and just not caring about anything else in the world. But maybe jumping onto a trend that revolves around a cute character with everyone else around the world doing the same thing is that kind of happy community, kind of escapism that we all really need right now. So in this section, I just wanted to touch on my feelings a little bit. These are not any facts. I want to pour my heart out and hear what you guys have to say, basically. My feelings are very conflicted. Going back to IKEA, when all of this started, when I saw the post of them promoting an ugly, cute trinket, a keychain, and the people in the comments really loving it, it really made me sit back. I remember I even posted about it in my story for my friends to see. I was just really taken back because if I would have worn that thing 10 years ago, people would have found me weird. Or maybe even 5 years ago, people would have found me weird. And now you have so many people thinking that it's cool. To be fair, maybe 5 years ago as well, some people would have liked it. But would have IKEA really released something like that and targeted it to adults? Would have grown adults really actually thought about buying it? I mean, I don't know how many people will actually buy that IKEA trinket because in all honesty, I think it's ugly. I don't think it's cute. I don't like it. But that's besides the point. My point is that I was shocked to see a big brand like this release something like that targeted to adults and people in the comment actually liking it, because that was very strange to me and something I would have not expected to ever happen. And I think the reason I feel a bit torn with all of this is it now safe for me to be who I am? Hear me out. I think because all my life, I've been into alternative fashion ever since I was like 12 years old. I've never really been into any other fashion. To be fair, I like a lot of different types of fashion, but most of the time it's a bit more on the creative side. So I've never really been into a lot of the mainstream trends, which is completely fine, right? But because of that and I guess my niche interests, all my life, especially my childhood and teenage years, I was made fun of quite a lot. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. A lot of people of niche interests have similar stories, right? Like you get looked at weirdly. People on the streets make mean comments. Sometimes people take photos of you without your consent. Then your classmates see your photos and make fun of you, like all of these things, right? I don't think I'm like a special person. Like there's a lot of people that have similar stories. But the fact still remains that because of all of these experiences, I kind of learned to tone down myself. That sounds weird because I post my outfits online, right? But let's say when I was going to university, I would not show up super fully dressed up. I would still obviously wear the clothes I own, but in the most normal way possible. So I would make an effort to look normal, right? And I would also not openly talk about my interests much, or I would hold back on opinions, or I would, let people talk and just be there to listen. I think because of that, a lot of people think that I'm quite shy or maybe even rude because I don't interact much. When in reality, I think I just became very awkward because I don't feel comfortable opening up. And I know I'm oversharing here, but I hope you get my point. The thing that makes me feel conflicted about all of this is the reason I learned to feel some sort of shame around my interests and what I like is because people not accepting it and making fun of it. And now suddenly cuteness is becoming more normalized, or like I see a lot of normies suddenly wear trinkets when that's something really only people in alternative fashion spaces, in my experience, have been doing for all of these years and have probably been bullied for as well. So, but now it's okay. Now it's okay because the normies say it is. I'm very torn because I also don't hate people for doing that. Like, I don't hate someone who's not really into alternative fashion to like Labubus. You can do that. It's not like I'm going around and every time I see someone wearing jeans and having a Labubu hanging off their back, I'm like, oh my God, like, look, you're a normie. You're part of the problem. Like, no, there is no problem. But I think what I want to say is I'm just sad. I'm very sad that back in the day and even my early 20s, I felt like I had to hide myself, or people judged you for your interests or how you dressed, or thought it was appropriate to leave certain comments. But now suddenly it's cool. Obviously, we're not talking about alternative fashion. It's just Labubu. Like, I feel like alternative fashion, any sorts of alternative subculture is not mainstream, right? Cute trinkets have just been such an essential part of the alternative subcultures I'm part of that it almost feels like a part of my subculture is now cool because the mainstream says it is. And I think that's what's really difficult for me to accept. And I feel like I would feel that way with a lot of things because I'm only talking from my experience, but maybe there are other subcultures or other niche interests or other things that people made fun of, but then at some point it became a trend and then it was cool. Sorry, I'm rambling a lot, but I hope you get the gist. I just feel like, why do we need to prove ourselves to the masses to accept us for then to be nice to us? And I'm not only talking about the subcultures I'm part of, but I guess anyone with any sort of niche interest. Why are people just not nice? I mean, people are nice, don't get me wrong. Just because I got bullied or made fun of doesn't mean everyone bullied me. And I'm sure a lot of other people had similar experiences, right? And it just makes me sad because I know I became a person who is a bit more awkward, who has a harder time opening up. On the other hand, obviously, it also makes me happy that I see cuteness being so prevalent nowadays. I live in London now, and just in the last couple of years, so many fun things have opened up that cater to interests that are related to my subcultures. So there are so many photo booths now, and so many cute cafes, and a lot of events and meetups, and the community is thriving, and you see cuteness in so many different areas and places as well. So I'm also very, very thankful and grateful that I have the opportunity to really engage with my interests very openly in that way now as well. But I guess it's hard, what I want to say. I think it's just hard. Why are things are just hard. But obviously I'm also happy. Like, if you're someone who's very much dressing normally, not really part of any subculture related to Labubus whatsoever, but you like Labubus, then go for it. I'm happy for you. Again, cuteness is nothing to be ashamed of. Just because we're adults doesn't mean we can't like cuteness, right? Like, I'm a functioning adult. I'm working a 9 to 5 job. I'm paying my bills. I'm watching documentaries on TV. I don't know if that makes me an adult, but you know what I mean. Like, I can form coherent sentences. I'm not a child, but I can still like cuteness, because why not? Why can't I like it? And I feel like that's how it should be, right? We just need to respect each other and be empathetic. And sorry, I'm rambling so much. I think you understand why I feel so conflicted. I think it would blow my mind if suddenly, I don't know, let's say J fashion would become crazy popular, and then suddenly I'm the cool kid. I don't know, I would just pass out. I would not understand that. I'm like, you're telling me I got bullied all my life and now I'm the cool kid? I'm obviously here exaggerating. I didn't get bullied all my life. But yeah, I think I might end it here because there's no conclusion to this video. I guess because of a lot of different reasons, Labubus have become popular, and I don't know if they will continue being popular. I just hope we won't see crazy high landfills full of Labubus anytime soon. I hope the people that buy Labubus actually cherish them and like them. But again, I didn't want to talk about overconsumption. Again, also happy that people embrace cuteness more, and I see a lot of normies walk around with their Labubus more. But then again, also sad that I had to go through this for it to now be okay, I guess. But maybe that's just how it is. You always have people that are treated a bit more as outsiders for those things to at some point become accepted later on. Not saying that's an ideal thing. Again, let's just all be nice to each other, be empathetic and respect each other. But maybe that's just a cycle of things. I don't know. But yeah, let me know what you think. Maybe you're also into any J fashion or other subcultures. Maybe you're not really into any of that at all, but you've discovered Labubus and you like it. I'm not quite sure, but let me know your thoughts. And I'm sure maybe some of you can relate to what I'm feeling. I'm pretty sure. But that's it from me. I don't think I have a full set opinion yet. I will probably continue being conflicted and torn with all of this. But at the end of the day, if that means things are getting better for everyone, so be it. Maybe last thing, consume consciously. Again, overconsumption is bad. Don't buy Labubus if you don't actually want them. Okay, see you in my next video. Bye!